So last class, we were discussing about the wrapper. Wrapper class we were discussing about, right? And we were doing some requirement. The requirement is whenever based on the account name selection, we have to pull the contact and opportunities. So this is my account list. Let's click on preview. Okay, these are my account list. So top 10 records, I am pulling it. Now, as soon as there is a change happened on the selection of the pick list. As soon as the change is happened, I wanted to call the table. I wanted to call the account table and I wanted to call the contact table and opportunity table. So these are the two tables that I wanted to call. So right now we have implemented this, right? And in the wrapper too, we have a ACCS, which is a variable. The variable is storing the list of records. So that's the same variable we are referring here to show the list of the values. And next we have a opportunity wrapper and then we have a contact wrapper, right? Now, whenever the selection is happening on, I wanted to capture the data, right? Whenever the selection is happening on, I wanted to capture the data. So how can we do that on the select list? How can we take the on change, the value? How can we get the information? So basically we can get the information. We have something called Apex action support. Apex action support. Inside this Apex action support, the action which we are going to do is we have to perform something, right? Whenever we perform, we wanted to call the, we wanted to capture the information. So what I'll do is I'll click on this. I'll create a method. Okay, I'll use the method which is called as a account refresh or on selection. This is my method. So I'll create that method here. Public. So I'll create a method. It's a page reference method because on the page reference, I'm going to call this. Page reference and the method name. Let's save this first. And I have to.
Why are we using page reference?
Yeah, I'll come to that. So return null. I just wanted to take out these errors. Let's save. It is not saving. Unknown method. Okay, it's saved. So basically page reference. So why we use the page reference? So page reference is whenever we have a set of query or string parameters on the page, like whenever I'm referring or I'm navigating something, Okay, on clicking on this, I wanted to display some data below. Okay, so page reference is basically a class. So let's go back to the notepad. This is only for, first of all, when we use this page reference is only when we have a connection between the Visualforce page and Apex class. Only connection has between the Apex class and Visualforce page. So a page reference is a reference to an instances page references to view or set query string parameter and values for a page. So there are different definitions are there for the page reference. Okay, so for in our case, what is the page reference is to view or set of query string parameters and values for a page. Now, what are the properties of page reference is to navigate the user to a different page as the result of an action. To navigate the user to different page as the result of an action method. Okay. So first one is to view or set query string parameter and value pages. Okay, so ideally in a real-time situation when we use this, for example, I'm clicking on the URL. Let's assume that I'm clicking on https or /www.google.com. Okay, this is my URL. Or else, instead of URL, I have given the another Visualforce page. Another Visualforce page here. Okay, I have given another Visualforce page. So I wanted to redirect from one Visualforce page to the another Visualforce page. Or I wanted to redirect the page from one page to another page. So in that scenario, what we do is we use the page reference. This is one scenario. How do we use this page reference? Page reference is only in the Apex side when we have a connection between the Apex and Visualforce page. Page reference is implemented in Apex class only when there is a connection between Visualforce page and Apex class. Okay, so if I wanted to redirect a URL or from the current URL to the another URL, so what I'll do is this is I'm wanted to redirect to the google.com, some Google page. So then what I'll do, I'll initialize this page reference equal to new page reference, and I'll give that page reference into the and I'll give that page reference within the quotes that URL I'll give. This is the initialization of the page. This is initialization of the page. Now this page will be initialized in the Apex whenever the Visualforce page is clicked on. I have a Visualforce page. This is my Visualforce page. And then I have a Apex class here. This is the Apex class. Okay. So on the Visualforce page, what are we doing? The UI is, this is my UI. On UI, I have a button. This button, on clicking on this button, I'll redirect to the another UI. This is assume that this is UI of VF1. And I have another UI which is similar to this. I have another UI. So assume that this is VF2. This is VF2. Now on clicking on the button for VF1. So I'm clicking on this VF1. Whenever I click on this VF1, the page has to be changed to the VF2. Whenever I click on this button, the page has to be redirected to the page 2. How it is going to redirect to the page 2, that is decided by the page reference. How I'll write the page reference? This button, I'll write it here, the logic. How I'll write it? Page block button or command button. What are the buttons are there, right? So in that button, I'll call the Apex method. Inside the method, we have some method here. Inside the method, I'll give a page reference. I'll initialize the page reference, and inside the page reference, I'll say that, okay, redirected to this VF page. So whenever I click on this button, what will happen? It will call the Apex method. Inside the Apex method, I have a page reference. So page reference will be redirected to the another VF page. So that is one condition. Now, this is one scenario. Now, another scenario is whenever there is a change is happening, I wanted to display some information in the same page. My page doesn't want to change. Okay. Now, another scenario is, the second scenario is I have a pick list here. Okay. On selection of the pick list, I wanted to redirect the data into this account, contact and opportunity. So this information I wanted to fill. So based on the change of this. So in that scenario, what I'll do is I'll implement, but on back end of this button, what I'll do is I'll implement a method where the data type is page reference. Now, what are the data types that I'll give here while creating the method? What are the data types that I'll give while creating the method? What are the data types we give while creating the method? We have a return value. If we have a return value, what is the data type here? If I'm returning the string, then here the data type is string. If I'm returning the list of account, then my data type is list.
Yeah, to return the null value, it's void.
Non-void.
Okay.
For
So
void, we don't have a return.
Okay, okay.
We have already discussed. So whenever we are string, non-void means string or integer, boolean or list, whatever the data type I give here, there should be a when I'm giving the data type here, that means could be a primitive data type, could be a collection data type. Whenever I give here the data type, that is a non-void. Whenever the non-void is there, we have to expect a return value which is similar to that same data type. So here what I'm doing is I'm implementing a method which is page reference method. Page reference method. This page reference method is going to give us the value. So that let's see what is going to happen inside this. So when my page reference method gets called, my page reference method is gets called on change of the selection. Whenever I change the account value, that time I wanted to change the information. So in real time, whenever we use this, whenever we very rare cases, Visualforce pages is, but in case if you are using the Visualforce pages, if you wanted to redirect it, you have to declare it with page, you have to initialize the page reference. Most of the scenarios in real time is redirecting the page. Okay, you will see on change also. So if needed, you can use it. So this is most of the times where when you wanted to shift the page from one page to another page. So that time we use the page reference. Now back to the development. Okay, so in the page reference, okay, in this method, what is the data that I wanted to do? So basically, I wanted to get the selected one. The selected data I wanted to get. Where I'll get the selected data, as soon as I select it, the selected value is going to give me the selected value, right? Now I can show you that selected value here. System.debug. Then I'll print selected value. Let's save it. Debug. Clear the log. Now go to the page. Now I have this sample. Now when I change it, what will happen? There is nothing got executed. Refresh. Let me say that here we have we did not give the event when to capture the information. We did not give that on change of the value. Okay. Now here, Jenny. So capture the information. So that's what I have selected here. If I select another one, United Oil Gas, then let's go to the debug log, debug United Oil Gas UK. So whenever we are using the action support, whenever you are using the action support, we have to tell the event. What is the event that I'm going to use? Is it on the on change? Right now, what we are doing it on change. Okay. So what is this action support? Action support is basically this command Apex : action support in the Visualforce page. Apex : action support is basically allowing the component. This will allow the component. This component will allow to be refreshed asynchronously by the server when a particular event occurs. When a particular event occurs. That event could be anything. That event could be button click, or mouse over, or on change. So any click of this, if I wanted to refresh asynchronously by the server, right? Whenever we wanted to get the data and refresh it from the server, then we use action support. So basically, why do we use this? Use this component to get user input. What is the input that is selected by the user? For then it will pass it to the controller. Controller method that does not correspond to a field. On an S object. So basically why do we use it? In order to capture the information that is selected by the user. How you are going to select it? You can select it on click. So for example, if you write here, event equal to, right now we have written the on change, but on click you wanted to capture, then you say that on click. So it will capture only on click of that. It will not capture on change. Right? So those scenarios, if you wanted to capture the information, then we can use capture the information and passing to the Apex classes. We use the action support. And what are the keywords that I can use in the event? You can use different different things. For example, event equal to, what are the events that I can use? You can use on change, on click, on focus, or on key down, or onkeypress, on mouseover, right, or on select. So these are the different ways we can capture the event. Now, based on the requirement, you can capture the event, whether it is on change or on click or on mouse over or on select, whichever the one is there, you can use that. Fine. So on change, I wanted to capture the data in on select. Then I wanted to pass the information to the on select. On select is the method. On select is the method. I wanted to capture this data, and selected value is going to store that information and it will be passed into the on selection. So on selection, I'm printing the debug. So when I print the debug, I'm able to get the information. Now I have the values, whatever is user has been selected. Whatever the user has selected, I have the information. And whatever the user is selecting here, I can capture those information. Now using that information, what should I need to do? I need to get the account and contact information. I wanted to get the account and contact information. Now let's go ahead and try. So, okay. So first of all, how can I get the information of the accounts? So using the query selected ID comma name from account, where name equal to, then I have to use this selected value, because selected value is the one which is going to capture whatever the data is selected by the user, right? Using this, I can get the account which is selected by user, account that is selected by user. For this account, I wanted to capture the contact and opportunities. I wanted to capture the contact and opportunities. So ideally, in that case, what should happen? I will capture the first account ID, right? I will capture the account ID. How can I capture it? Through the SOQL query, right? Through the SOQL query. So from above, we have written the SOQL query. From that, I'll get the account ID. Based on the account ID, I'll capture the contact. How I'll do it? That is another SOQL query. I need to write a SOQL query to get the contact based on the account ID. Also, I need another SOQL query to pull the opportunities. To pull the opportunities, this is another SOQL query. How I'm going to pull the opportunities? Select ID, comma, name from opportunity where account ID equal to what are the account ID this has. So there are 3 SOQL queries are there. Now, instead of this, once I have written the SOQL query, I have to look through the each SOQL query and store it into the wrapper, right? Once I do the SOQL query, I need to loop through the entire records and store it into the opportunity wrapper and store it into the contact wrapper, right?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is instead of multiple queries, I'll do one thing. I can write an inner query here. What I'll do is first I'll write to get the contact information. Now inside this, select first name, comma name from contacts. And another query, I'll write within this itself, select name from opportunities, right? This is the query, which is for the 3. Instead of 3 queries, instead of writing the 3 queries multiple times, what I have done is I have implemented a single query with the inner query.
Ma'am, there is
for the same account name, I need to get the contact and opportunities. Any questions?
Yeah, there is spelling mistake. First name.
First name.
Yeah, it will get it.
Okay. So now once I got this information, once I received this information, then I have to loop through the each record and separate it, store it into the opportunity wrapper. In order to loop through this, what I'll do is I'll run the loop, for loop. Which one we are doing it? Account. Because at the end, my main query is account and I'm giving the variable name as A. Variable name as A. And this is my loop. Right? This is my loop. Now, inside this loop, if you observe one thing, I'm using the opportunities contacts. Ideally, whenever I write the query, what I do, I just write select ID, comma, name or comma first name from contact. We use the contact. But if you see here, inner queries will always have a plural names. Every object will have a plural name. So whenever you are writing the inner query, we have to use the plural name. We should not write here contact. If you write here contact, its system, the Apex class will say that I do not understand what is the contact. So there is an error it is going to throw. So it is going to throw an error saying that you have to use the relationship name. So always use the relationship name. In case if you have custom object, usually how the custom objects will be, their custom objects will be okay, so this is the custom object. Let's assume that this is the custom object underscore C. Now, if you are referring the custom object here, then you have to use the relationship __ or. The relationship name, you have to use it. For the standard one, we have to use the standard object, we have to use the plural name. Okay. Now I'm querying the entire record. Querying the opportunity contact account based on the selected value. So based on the selected value, I'll get the account. For the same accounts, what are the contacts and opportunities are there, it will pull everything. Now inside this, what I'll do is I'll have to loop through again, specifically for the contact, a.contacts. Now this data, I have to store it into the contact wrapper. Now contact wrapper is a single record contact information it is going to store. Single record contact information it is going to store. Now I wanted to collect the list of contact and save here. Instead of storing the list of contact, the single contact will not enough. So what I have to do, I have to use this wrapper and declare a variable which is called as a public list, and my object name is contact wrapper. Then I'll say that C list equal to, I'll initialize it here itself, contact wrapper. This is going to store the complete information, the complete list. Now next I have a opportunity wrapper. So I'll use public list of contact opportunity wrapper. Then I'll say that OPP list equal to new list of opportunity wrapper. Now I have this information. So what I'll do is inside this list, I'll add my data dot add new contact wrapper. What is expecting the contact wrapper? What is expected here? Selected value and the contact. So selected value anyway it is false by default. And what is the contact? C. Perfect. Now next one is I'm going to use it for opportunity. For opportunity C colon A dot opportunities A dot opportunities, and here we have a list, but I can store it here dot add and new of opportunity wrapper. What is expected by the opportunity wrapper? Selection and opportunity. So false by default. OPP. So here it is OPP. Perfect. So these are the informations. These are the information that is stored. Now, how can I display whatever the data is stored into the C list and opportunity list? How can I store it into the Visualforce page? What are the things that we need to implement in the Visualforce page?
We need to implement a table.
Table. Right. So what I'll do, Apex colon page block table. And the value equal to opportunity list. I'll show the opportunity list. Inside the opportunity list, what are the columns we have? Only the name we are querying it. So I'll use the Apex colon column value equal to. So this page block table, I have to give the name for this. Let's say O dot name. This is one column. Same thing we needed for the another table, which is called as contact. Here it should be contact list, C list. For the C list, what are the information that we are capturing? Let's take only the C. So is this correct? Whatever I have written, is this correct? Unknown component, a column. Okay. Now opportunity list dot name. Does it give me the information? Opportunity list dot name. Does it give me the information?
No, we have to give the variable name which we have defined inside the wrapper.
Yes. So I have to give opp dot name. Same thing for C. Contact is C. So what I'll do is I'll change this to con dot C dot name. What is happening here? OPP list is not right. Ah, okay. So what is the problem here? It is saying that OPP list wrapper is not defined.
We have not initialized it in the class. Did we do?
This is the initialization.
Yeah.
What is the problem? Is this the one? Is this the one or different one? What is the problem here?
Yeah, get set.
Okay, public list get set. So what I'll do is I'll change a little bit here. And then on selection, I'll take this initialization here. Okay, and then initialization is here. Let's save. Let's say unknown property, page table. Okay, this is fine. Now click on preview. There is already preview open. Now here are the two tables which are showing up. Now Jenny point. Okay, it is displaying one contact and multiple opportunities. It is displaying this Ashley. And United Kingdom, it is displaying this. right? The data is getting changed on change of my value. On change of my value, the data is getting changed. Now the alignment is not good. So how can you make the alignment?
Creating page block section for the two tables.
You have to create section or section items. You can do that, which you can perform it. Now these are updating fine. Here, so this is something which is equal to the real time. So this kind of a real time scenarios you will get it during when you are writing the program. Okay, so here what are we doing it? Now let's divide this. Okay, now this is a wrapper class. Wrapper class for what?
For opportunity.
To store the opportunities. And this is another wrapper class to store contact data. Now, here we are querying the first 10 records. Query the 10 records. Get the 10 records from database. Once we have the data into, once we have the 10 records, on selection, who is capturing the selected value? Selected value is the variable which is captured. The selected value in pick list. Now, whenever the change is happening, this is will call. Called on change of value in pick list. Okay. So what are we doing it? We are querying the or get the account, related contact, related opportunities from based on the selected value. Right. Once the data is, once we get the data, storing the related contact information in wrapper. Which wrapper? Contact wrapper. Here what we are doing, store the related opportunities information in opportunity wrapper. Clear? So that's what we are doing it. Any questions? Okay, so we were having a previously one Visualforce page which we have implemented. Whenever selected, it is going to display the information here. Right, this is what we have done it yesterday. Now on this assignment, same thing. Okay, same whatever we did it in the last class, same assignment, but little bit change. What is the change here? Whenever I select this, okay, I'm selecting the checkboxes that I wanted to move to the table 2. As soon as the records are moved to the table 2, delete the records from table 1. As soon as the records are moved to the table 1, table 2 deletes the records from table 1. That means whatever the table 2 I have moved it, United Oil, Gas UK, Singapore, Edge Communication, these records I should not be able to see in the table 1. That is the assignment. Implement a Visualforce page that shows account records. Maximum you can take 10 records. Account records in table 1. Okay. Select the or as soon as user clicks on the button by selecting the records in table 1. Then records should move to the table 2 and delete same records from table 1. Right? So what are the data that is moved to the, what are the records that are moved to the table 2? Those records deleted from the table 1. We should not see this table. What are the checked records are there? We should not be seeing it. All right. So another assignment is second assignment. Second assignment is we have a table 1 and table 2. These are the two tables. These are the two tables. Now for these two tables, the checkbox should be there. For the two tables, the checkbox should be there. Okay, assume that two table will have a checkbox. Okay. Okay. Two tables will have a checkbox where it is table 1 has a checkboxes, table 2 has a checkboxes. Okay. Now these records, whatever I have moved, United Oil, Gas UK, and Edge Communication. So those records should not be displaying here. These records should not be displayed. That means that is the first assignment. These records should not be displayed here because these are already moved to the table 2. Now, second assignment is if I select this, from the table 2. Okay, and if I click on selected account, what should happen? The United Oil Gas has to be appearing here. It should display here. The United, as soon as I click on this, the United Gas Singapore should be displayed and edge communication still be showing here. And in case if I select this one, what should happen? It should display the edge communication here. It should not display from second table. It's kind of a multi-select. As soon as I select this and click on a selected account, this should move to these two tables and here it should not appear. Only first one should appear. If I move this United Oil Gas, all three should appear in table 1. There is nothing here. Nothing here. That is the second assignment. Implement a Visualforce page to display account records in table 1. Implement a Visualforce page for multi-pick list. Multi-pick list. What is a multi-pick list? To display the account records in table 1. As soon as the user clicks on a button by selecting the records in table 1, that should move to the table 2. Table 1, then it should move to the table 2, delete the records from table 1. And the next one is, as soon as the user clicks on button by selecting the records in table 2, then the record should be moved to the table 1 and deleted to the table 2. Okay, it has to be moved. Similar like a multi-pick list. We have a multi-pick list in the Salesforce similar like that. Fine. So that is another assignment. Okay, so right now what we have done, we have implemented this information. Now on click on this opportunity. On click of opportunity, you should show the opportunity records here. On click of this record, you should show the opportunity records here. That is the third assignment. Implement a Visualforce page to display related contact and opportunity based on the selection of account in the pick list. This is what we have done right now. Okay, and as well as whenever user clicks on single opportunity record, then display the detail section. Below. section in same Visualforce page. Fine. These are the 3 assignments. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move on to the admin.